Well, I'm gonna make another video once again. I'm Brother Bob, of course, from titles and from other YouTube titles. You can kind of gather that YouTube videos. Um, so anyway, it's been a couple weeks. And I know people on YouTube do all this all the time. Like, oh, it's been a couple weeks since I made a video and tell the whole life story, everything, and it just kind of gets you up to date on things. Uh, well, nothing of a life story, but I did some videos and haven't had a lot of reviews yet. They're out there as they're supposed to be out there, as I feel like they have to do for whoever needs it, maybe one person. As I say, take a look at the video. If you're listening to it in the background and hear something important, say, hey, this man says this. This is something I think you need to hear. And send it to that one person. And some of my notes I put down, there was that thing, Demolition Man, where the little news lady is saying something about, you destroyed the whole entire mall for saving this one little girl. Of course, one little girl responds with some pretty strong words. It says, you know, yeah, yeah, that's, who are you to say otherwise? For me, it's a personal thing. For each of us, it's personal. So, for that little girl, yeah, forget the mall. It's about me, and material over a person is justified when it comes to us. There's so many things that we say. Well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. And that's what people say. But you got to do what works for you, and that's not so much bad things, but good things. Going to college, doing something that you feel passionate about, because with your passion, you will move forward in this world. You do something someone else tells you should do, and if you don't seriously believe in that, it's probably not going to be much heart in it. They call it having heart. Well, it's interesting. I come back here to this gazebo, and there's this rocking chair sitting here in the middle of it. I don't know why. It's kind of nice, I guess. Maybe it's just put here, just maybe for me. There's two or three things I wanted to talk about, and when I saw the rocking chair, I said, well, this is interesting. In the old times, a lot of, and there's a country song that talks about a lot of front porch rocking. Sometimes, we know our neighbors because we sit on the front porch and we holler at them, hey, how's it going? And then they'd say something in response. We have a little more knowledge of who they are and things like that. Or we just sit out here and rock, and we'd have a chance to talk instead of having our heads buried in the phones and stuff. Now, I do believe sometimes in the phone, have my head buried, always giving our opinions. Maybe we're doing some good that way by talking to people through social media. So interesting enough, what I want to title this thing here is, I'm just going to make the title No More. We have the holidays coming up, and Christmas and Thanksgiving. And it was interesting enough, there was a talk a few years ago. Things change, I guess, but a few years ago, they had what was known as a survey type deal talking about suicide and depression and things like that in the holidays. And the truth being is that people are not generally depressed in the holidays, as according to statistics. Reason being is there is some sort of family, there's some sort of glimmer, lights, there's something that's going to give somebody a little bit of excitement. And there's ambulance coming through. Always something out there on the roads. So anyway, it was interesting. And when they said that, it's interesting thought. Here it is Christmas time. This is, the second week, third week of November. We're actually in the third, towards the Thanksgiving week coming soon next week. So the holidays are starting. There's food on a good community. There's probably people giving food, dinners. There's probably people even inviting people to Christmas parties. There's so much things in the holidays, and if you are depressed in the holidays, that's a pretty bad time to be depressed. Now, there's so many people out there who've lost loved ones, and they've lost them in the holiday season or near the holiday season, or anytime throughout the year they've lost somebody. And the holidays, this is the first time experiencing the holidays without them, or the 100th time, it's not the same. God did build us though to move forward, and that's what everybody says. Oh, you got to move forward. You got to move forward. You get tired of hearing that, but it is the sad truth that people do pass away, but they get their glory in heaven, and that's what we got to understand. But for us, it's still personal. It says, well, I wish such and such was with me. I wish my aunt, my uncle, my grandparent, even my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. It's just not the same. So we have our memories, I guess, and God gave us a moment of the right, good times. And there's somebody who's probably, as I say, no more. There's probably somebody who's never had a good Christmas, maybe beyond maybe a dinner. I think everyone in society here has had some kind of Christmas dinner at some place, no matter how down they were, how bad things were. Somewhere, somehow, they received a Christmas dinner. I don't believe that it's possible really to never have received a Christmas dinner. I guess it's possible, but I don't believe that. There's always a mission. There's always somebody somewhere over the course of the years has always tried to see to it that everyone receives Christmas dinner. Thanksgiving's the same way. I see that a lot. Thanksgiving dinners. So anyway, so there's a few things of interest. Why I call it no more is we always speak of more. We always want more. We always want more. We always want more. And there's the other side of this. Some of us out there don't want more, and now we're saying we don't want more. Of course, we all want more, as they say, more money. Now, there's a few people that probably have a lot of money and a lot of things, and they're all up in age and say, well, I don't need any more. I don't want more money. I have all the money I need. But we're not talking necessarily about good things. We're referring to the no more, of the bad things. Society has so many bad things, and we always refer to bad things as killings and robberies and traffic. We can refer to traffic as bad, definitely, because many people are stuck in traffic. We're lucky nowadays we have our cell phones, and we have our cars that can play many apps through our phones, and we get to listen to our own music. And, so our travel in the car, we have generally all our cars have heating and air conditioning. And generally we are able to have all the pretty much comforts, more so nowadays. So when you're in traffic, you're not near as bad as you were years ago. But there's so much that we say no more. We want no more. And it's a simple term, no more. The things people are dealing with, everybody's like, well, we're striving to get more, we're striving to get more. We're striving to get more of the good things. We're needing no more of the bad things. And there's some days that they said it comes in threes. I don't know if I believe in that necessarily. I've seen it come in twos many times. I've seen some bad mornings, bad starts, just turn out to be an okay day. So when we put that on a larger scale, the time you're going through, maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years, it's a rough time. God puts us in places, they say, that we need to be for our future. Maybe if we take the wrong attitude towards it, though we don't take it as a lesson, we take it as a curse, and we will never move forward in the way we're supposed to move forward. Some people say, well, I'm waiting on God to tell me what to do. And I've told people, especially one person in particular, I saw the social media, this woman, she said, well, I just haven't heard from God yet. I'm waiting on God. I'm going to be honest with you, you've heard from God. Most of us have at some point heard from God when we ask God. Sometimes we don't even ask him, we don't hear from him. But what we hear now, there is Satan, the devil, and everything else. It tells you to do something evil and bad, and that's not of God. But God says sometimes, like, well, when you have a bad situation, God says, get up, go do this. Not go do anything evil, but go do this. Now, some people, we speak of moving. So you get up and you go move across the country, across the world. And they say, well, that problem will follow you. It is. If you have an attitude of addiction or something, alcohol problems, you'll find the same group of people. If you have a cigarette and smoking problem, getting up and moving, maybe the first 2 weeks you'll be busy to move. You won't smoke as much, or you might go the other way. You might smoke more because the move is stressful. The thing is, though, is you can't really move to fix a personal problem. You've got to start within yourself. But to fix the bigger personal problem, oh goodness, somebody didn't like that message. I am going to keep this going because it's upside down. Because I think we're on a roll here. See how we do here. All right. It's a little breezy this morning. So, what I'm trying to explain is the bigger personal problems of depression, when you're just in a low environment. You got to probably consider what God has told you to do to fix it. He's probably said you need to move here. You need to go to school. You need, God's telling you. It's like, well, you think, oh, I don't need to go to school. I don't need to do that. That's your personal thought. But if you're asking for God's guidance and you believe this, it's easy to say, oh, Lord, I didn't hear you. I know you didn't tell me to just go to school. And not only did He probably tell you to go to school that you didn't want to do or don't feel like you can do, He probably told you what you needed to go to school to do. Or He told you where you needed to move to. Oh, I don't need to move there. Environmental problems we can fix by following God. Of course, the Alcoholics Anonymous and everything else will tell you the higher power. So you put your faith in God. You can actually get past your addictions and stuff. Some addictions are physical. It's to the point where you need medical help. If that's necessary, you need to go get medical help. Because, chemical imbalance will be thrown off. And this is true of deep depression. Chemical imbalance can be thrown off. Out of balance, you need medication. There's some medication to get you past addiction, but sometimes it's just counseling. Sometimes it's just finding the heart of the problem. Sometimes it's a person personally coming to you saying, look, this is a problem in your life. You haven't, you spend too much time awake at night worrying about this problem. What can you do to fix it? Things like that. So this morning, it's been kind of cold a few days. I've been a few weeks out, and so I tried to start up the tablet, the little tablet thing, and it came on and went right back off. That tells me that the battery's dead. The tablet was pretty cold. And so, as always, I wanted to just come straight into a scripture. So I couldn't really do that. I guess I could have looked something up on my phone and memorized it. But I like to read directly from that tablet, and we've gone astray from what I've tried to do with these videos, and always just us together look at the internet, look at what something has said. I do believe there's maybe one video I did where I didn't have the tablet, or two of them, or something, where I didn't get to have the using tablet, and and I tried to go to where I was doing a straight scripture. One of the things I can do though is tell you one or two from memory. One scripture is Hebrews 13:8 that I remembered from years ago. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that's very important because as society we'll try to change so many things. We have the newest phone, we have this, we have that. Uh, we have so many ideas. God has always had His plan for humanity. They say, well, it's to get married, it's to get in a relationship. And then they've had some pretty good messages about how, no, sometimes you're meant to be single, and you're meant to do this, and so many things. When the right person comes along, the right person will come along. So follow God, and everything comes to be all right. So anyway, though, I thought, well, here's a couple of things. Here it is. My tablet is not working, and so when I thought about doing the message, I considered this message being based on no more, and it's a certain disconnect from the idea concept of more. Now, I could have named the message suicide or death or anything like that, and sometimes it's the message isn't the problem of just suicide and death. It's other things. We're not interested in suicide. We're not interested in death. This movie called The Encounter was very interesting to say many things. It spoke of a girl who's having a very bad time, a young woman, and she put the gun to her head, basically, or to the bottom of her chin, and says, and pulls the trigger. Well, her stepdad had been coerced by God, as this movie goes, to unload the gun because he'd almost accidentally shot himself by tripping over something and drinking. So he decided not to put a round in the chamber or have the gun active. And so he makes a very, very strong statement. He said, when you pulled that gun, it wasn't for you to die, it was to go to a better place. And I think about that a lot. That's something none of us want to jump from that bridge or go running out and jump in front of a car, looking to die. We just want out of where we are. Now, so much of our places are temporary. One thing they did say though is it's like suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Who cares? I think that was one of the craziest things they could have ever said for anti-suicide prevention, because nobody cares if it's a permanent solution. We're more than happy to have a permanent solution. Don't care if the problem's temporary, just permanently salute the things. We may have the problem again. But we got to ask ourselves, have we always been depressed? There are some things you can do. There are vitamins, there are certain diets you can change to. The internet today are so full of helpful things that can help us. But I know in the holidays, as I discussed earlier, we talk about how, if you're depressed in the holidays, it's probably not really true. Your true depression is going to come after the holidays. Come January, I started a new year. Theoretically, you're going to do some resolutions, make the year better. But at some point, a year into it, you've already said, well, here it is. A month into the year, you've already said, well, my resolutions are gone. It was funny. I saw a deal on Facebook, or a post. It was from like January 1st of one of these last couple of years, New Year's. It says, okay, well, I've already messed up this year, so I'm ready for next year to come so we can try this again. Anyway, as I wanted to say, I've heard some messages on suicide and people passing away and things. You think of some people have actually said, they say, well, if I kill myself, that person who doesn't like me is going to have guilt. No, unfortunately, that person doesn't like you probably might not have guilt. They probably won't care. And that's important for you to know, because whatever you do is not going to change that boyfriend or that girlfriend. Yeah, they might be emotional, but they more likely, can move forward and things like that. You're the one that's probably hurt other people, not so much hurting the one you want to hurt. You've hurt your friends, your family. You've hurt so many people. Or God's had a plan for you. And that's another thing we got to discuss real quick is there's a lot of people believe if you commit suicide that you're not going to heaven. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And clearly, you choose Jesus, you're going to heaven. It doesn't say if you choose Jesus, but kill yourself. Now we have the man who lost a prisoner, who they thought had lost a prisoner, and when they had the earthquake in the midnight hour and the chains and everything broke loose, he was going to kill himself. And now his deal was he was not going to hell because he was going to kill himself, as they say. They said the jailer said, "What must I do to be saved?" And he said, "Believe on the name of the Lord Jesus, and you and your own house can be saved." Tonight, basically. So his deal was he wasn't a Christian, he wasn't going to heaven, and he realized that here it was about the end of my life, and I don't know what the future holds. I need to know what can I do. So he was informed of what he could do, that he could be saved, him and his whole house. So that doesn't give us a pass to go end our life early, though. Say, I'm going to heaven, so I'm going to end my life early. Because God has a plan. If you do something wrong, I've always kind of thought of it as a party. If somebody has a great big party and you're invited, you don't show up a day early. The party's not until Saturday night. So you show up a day early and it's nothing prepared for you. It's not a happy moment. As a friend, you can always show up to your friend's house anyway. But I refer to when you're invited to a party and they're trying to prepare for the party. God says, I'm trying to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. So God's trying to prepare our place, but he's trying to give us time to be in this world, to learn what we need to learn, help those we need to help. So you don't leave this world early. Maybe that boyfriend or girlfriend that's rejected you, or husband or wife that's divorced you, you worry because you don't know the future, and you say, well, I'll never find somebody. And we can always say that's true because we can look at other people who never find anybody, but that's what happened with them. Your life will be different. You're the one who has the opportunity to follow God and find what the true needs of your heart. And sometimes following God won't necessarily give you quickly what you want. But eventually give you peace. All those that follow God, I always find peace. Those who don't seem to have peace, I find the question, where's God? Why hasn't God helped me? Why hasn't God spoken to me? Why hasn't he told me anything what to do? Well, no, he's probably told you something you didn't want to hear again. He's told you, go do this, go elsewhere, go somewhere. So difficult to get out of your place and your way. The Bible does say somewhere, and I can't quote it directly because it's again, I like to read directly from the tablet. But the Bible says a dog will return to his own vomit, which basically is sickening. But it's basically saying no matter how horrible, how sick the situation is, you're comfortable with it. When the children left to find the promised land, many of them wanted to return because they didn't know what was ahead. They just knew what was behind them, and they'd rather be comfortable in where they were and what the possibility lays ahead. So if anyone is in depression or not happy after this holiday season, enjoy the holidays, go look for that meal. But after the holiday season, New Year's resolutions need to come. Start making a plan. Usually, God will tell you where you need to go, and if He's already told you, don't make a way. But you've got to take that first step. You've probably got money. You've probably got credit cards that are being used for things that you don't need to be used on. Most of us used it on Christmas stuff to show extra love for the kids. Well, he puts you in debt for like 2 or 3 months after Christmas. I can't say I believe in that, but it's about credit debt, credit problems. A lot of depression comes to not having money. Because when I say more, we do want more, but we don't want more. We want no more credit debt. We want more money. And part of that is getting rid of this interest rates and other things and overspending. So, but anyway, when my tablet wouldn't work, I thought, well, this is an example of when somebody passes on, and worse, when somebody makes themselves pass on through suicide and other. Well, that's basically it. Through those means, through those methods. I guess I could say they make themselves pass on by not going to take care of their health and things like that. But, more so through suicide stuff. That tablet is not here. My tablet is dead. It's gone at the moment, without power. Its life is gone. Now I can recharge it, and probably next time around I have it recharged, have it out here and ready to go, or out wherever we go. But anyway, it's gone. I can't use it. It's of no value, and that's a legacy you can leave behind when you give up on everything. Say, I don't want more, no more. I want to leave this world, no more. You've got that one person out there, just like me. I've got that tablet. It's dead. It's gone. So you've got that one person out there that was everything. You were their everything. You were their tablet. And you can't be recharged. You can't be, when you passed away, they put them electric things on you, shock your heart back into going sometimes. But once you're dead and gone and cold, just like that tablet, it's no more. So you have to have your attitude right as God. And you have to live according to what His plan is, because that's they'll tell you that's selfishness, killing yourself, taking pills, things like that. But you just try to take care of yourself. But there's ways to take care of yourself that doesn't include the depression and everything else. And we don't have to go as far as dying and things like that. The suicide part of it. That's why I say no more, because that's just part of it. No more is so much stress and so much depression that people are living under now. That's why I think a lot of people after the pandemic just didn't do that second job. We're going to learn to survive on our one job, or sometimes, especially in the restaurant business, they probably work a couple different restaurants, or so many sporadic hours. It's just stressful. To and from work, you lose so much time in your commute to and from work. Sometimes getting a new house, a new home, and a job close to there is the best thing you can do for yourself. Now there was a story of this factory, this industry that was in this town, and when that industry went out of business, 40% of the town moved. So the house market, that's almost 50%, house market crashed, so you couldn't sell your house. I wouldn't suggest going to a town that has just one little industry, one little, it's great in the moment, but you got to go pick an area that you can survive, but it's not that one industry. There's something you can do, a retirement, some kind of income. You refer to these people working, though. That's one thing, but also don't forget about people who are on a fixed income. You're struggling on Social Security and things like that to live in this city that is so expensive. They said California at one time run out of U-Haul trucks for so many people who were trying to leave. You're retired, you're on a fixed income. Enjoy your money, enjoy that work labor you did. Bring your family with you, I guess, but at some point, you can talk to them on the internet, you can talk to them on the phone, but everyday struggles are coming because your Social Security, your fixed income doesn't make it good for you. You got to have a little more money to enjoy life and not work. Retirement is for retirement, for beyond work. Some people were retired with trying to work at the same time. And you got to do that. I guess because of your health and everything else, you can't just sit around and do nothing on a retirement. But you got to choose your activities. If you're having to work a job you hate, you're supposed to be retired by now, because you're in a place where you can't hardly pay the bills. You better take a serious look at some financial counseling and serious look at what you're going to do, because it's age, it's time. It's never the deal. For every year past the early retirement of 62 through 60s, you gain so much in retirement more, but at the same time, the mortality rate is so much more. For every year, there's like such an increase in especially men. Well, I saw this for men, that it just cuts. Now, a lot of times people say if you're retired, you'll die earlier, because you have no activity, nothing, proper exercise, and things like that, I guess. But it's just in general from health or other reasons when you retire at certain ages. And I think a lot of it still is even working people. As you reach into your 60s, I mean, we're living longer in the 90s, but at the same time, the number of people that are passing away in their earlier days, even in their 50s sometimes, it's out there. So you've got to seriously consider when retirement time comes to enjoy the final years. But there's one of the biggest statements was one of the financial people. They said, well, what can I do now? You've got to enjoy yourself now also. I'm not saying spend all your retirement money. I'm not saying go blow all the food money, all gas money, but you've got to have a little penny jar. You've got to have something set aside. They call them staycations now, but many people also say we got to have a date night. I can't argue with that. There's so many people believe in that. You got to have a moment for yourself when you're young throughout the days. One of the greatest things I did was in 2018. I went to Israel, and some of the older people had been a couple of times, but they were up in age, and it was a lot of hard walk. And we went to many places, and I enjoyed it greatly. And I couldn't believe how much there was to see and do walking in the parks and things like that. We're talking big parks. So anyway, there's not a lot of stuff like you see on TV sometimes about this flatland. There's some hills and things like that. So there was a pretty good bit of exercise, but at the same time, it's a pretty good bit of walking. And you think about Israel, or you think about any trip you make to Italy, to Scotland, Ireland, all traveling to European countries. You want to be up. Your health wants to be good to walk. So at some point in midlife, I truly believe that you've got to get a trip somewhere. Maybe they'll give you a new way of life to see new ways. If you're younger and you're depressed, there is a thing. You can research it on the internet more so. There's a labor work deal where you can travel around parts of Europe, certain countries, certain areas, for a period of time, and you have to work, but they all go in as a group, and they provide the food and everything and a place to stay, and each person has their work tasks. You're not going to get very far in this world without working, so you're going to have to work somewhere. But if you were to work here and perhaps travel the world, you could probably get a new feeling for life. You can do some missions, do some other things. So, we always think missions, you have to be a strong Christian and everything else. But humanitarian work, if you're that depressed, don't have the money, you can go search these people out, get with these groups. Because if you're physically able, you can go out and make a difference. So when you make a difference for other people, you bring something good to yourself. And this is not saying you do this for 6 months. You do this until you feel better. And there are people like Mother Teresa. There are other people, I think, they do this. They don't ever want to be depressed again, so they never stop. You can do this from the time you're, 15, you're 14 out there. I don't know how young you are watching this. I would think that if you're below 13 or 14, 13, 14 can be depressing. But if you're below that, you generally haven't much thought. You're just kind of learning life with new things. Hopefully you're doing okay. Watch TV, watch movies, go to school. But when we get out, you have a goal to finish school. But when your goal is finished in school, that's where some of the depression comes in also. What am I going to do with my life? Things like that. But at any point in time, I guess you can try to be part of a mission. As, you know, if you're younger, I guess you can be part of a mission you don't know. You know, start a project, start a hobby, you know, arts, crafts, something. Even if you're a young age, you can't go anywhere. But in the future, it comes, some of the greatest things you can do is humanitarian work. And if you're doing great things for the people, your life will be blessed, as everyone should agree to. And travel, you know, don't sit there depressed. Get out, get on the internet and search. Do something. You know, there's some people who are homeless. There's some people who are struggling. So many of them, they joined the military. You know, is that bad? Yes, in a way. It's a different way of life, but people found their way of life better afterwards. So, you know, we're saying no more. We're all asking for no more who are, you know, on many things. So, what you got to do is go and find something different. And so there'll be no more. So this is the greatest message today, this moment, to say, you want no more, don't take any more, don't receive any more in this way of life. Go find something else, and no more.